Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's nice to see so many of you today. This is me pausing to think about what we should do. What should we do for the next 45 minutes together? But as I look around the room, I see a lot of people moving their legs around in their hip sockets. So I think maybe we'll do some hip and socket work. How about that? Hip, socket, leg work. Sockets, hips go together, legs fit into sockets. Woo! Bear with me. It's been a day. Let's start on our backs or in a nice, comfortable seated shape. Of course, if you're at home, you can sit in a chair. If you're in our space here, you can sit crisscross applesauce. You can lie on your back. Whatever shape you choose, let's just gently remind ourselves that we each have total agency over our practice over the next 45 minutes. So, meaning if something doesn't feel safe or comfortable, you can back out anytime you need to, okay? You can come back to this shape or any other shape that provides support. Also, adding this practice of mindful self-compassion, which really means that when we come back to ourselves, which we'll do several times throughout the practice, coming back with curiosity. So with curiosity, sprinkling in kindness, trying to let go of some of that more internal judgy talk that might arrive. Like, I should be able to do that forward fold like that, or I should be able to feel this. So we're just going to slow down, pay attention to how our bodies are moving, how it feels to breathe through our bodies, noticing how we talk to ourselves, the tone of the voice. And then coming back to a safe space whenever you need to. So whatever shape you're in, giving yourself a moment or two, encouraging your physical body to find stillness. So you're going to control the physical body to hold itself still. And then we're going to pay attention to letting go of control of your breathing. So allowing your body to breathe for you. Feeling, noticing your authentic breath. Let's take about 5 breaths. Gently reminding ourselves, we all feel the breath. That's what we have in common. Each one of us feels it a little differently. Just noticing here how you feel your breath. Where do you feel your breath in your body? And then paying attention to it. Now, in old school yoga, there's breath practices. So we're going to gently add a little bit of control to our breathing. So we're going from authentic, just let your body breathe to you, to very gentle control. And we're just going to do that with your exhale. So allowing your body to take a very natural, authentic inhale. Gently, kindly control your exhale and just try and let your exhale get a little longer. Now, what I mean by gentle is that you're not forcing your exhale so long that at the end of the breath, you're gasping for an inhale. You're not forcing it. You're just gently pulling your exhale maybe another half of a second long. And let's try maybe 3 more breaths like that. So very natural inhale. Gentle, long pull of the exhale. And come back to notice what you notice. Again, a time to practice embodiment, being in your body. Practice curiosity. What do you notice? Practice being nice to yourself. And then give yourself an exhale. And if you're sitting on the floor, we're going to come on your back. If you're at home and you need to be in a chair, fabulous, hang out in your chair. All right. So as you come onto your back, we're going to pick your right leg. We're joking a little bit about right, left, right. So you could just pick a leg or you could pick your right leg. Okay. You're going to bring your right knee up over your right hip. Okay. So if you're on your back, bring your knee right up over your hip and give yourself 2 or 3 hamstring stretches. Just hinge at that knee, go up and down. Get some information. How's this feel in your hip? If you're at home, you can drag your heel along on the floor, bending and straightening. Again, we're just trying to feel a little more, right? From the back hip area through your hamstring into your calf and your foot. Next time your right leg is a little bit straighter, pause. Again, check in. Did that add tension to your face, your neck, your jaw? Did that add tension into your hip? If it did, maybe bend your knee a little bit so it's not quite as tense. And then we're going to move this right leg. Define your hips. We're going really slow on purpose. It's going to speed up in a little bit, but we need to define your pelvis, those 2 hip bones. Now, take your right leg and roll it away from you. So you're going to roll your knee and your toe away. You're not making a circle. You're going to rotate just the leg and then bring the knee and the foot back. And just do 2 more. We're just doing 3. External rotation. Okay, next time you externally rotate your knee and your toe away, pause, and bring your right foot onto your left thigh bone. Just touch your thigh bone like a hot potato and then straighten your leg again 2 more times. Little different challenge would be to add resistance. We talk about adding internal resistance. Next time your foot comes onto your left thigh bone, pause. This might be enough for you. This is why we come back with curiosity. Like, is this hurting my low back? Is this hurting my hip? What's going on in my shoulders? If all of that feels okay, pick up your left foot and just bring your left knee up over your left hip. You're going to feel a little bit like a figure 4. If you are in a chair, you're going to cross your legs into a figure 4, and we're all going to settle into our very own figure 4 shape. Come back to 3 breaths. Okay, now flex your right foot, push your right heel away. Here comes your challenge. Take your right shin a little closer to you, like you're pulling it into your chest, and let your left leg drift away just like a millimeter. And hold your leg there deep from the hip socket. I'm doing it. If you're confused, might feel awkward, but spin around and look up. So your foot is not touching your leg anymore. And then you slowly, without moving your back, lower your left leg, straighten your right leg up to the ceiling, and then take your right leg to the floor. Sit back in your chair, sit upright. Come back to constructive rest. Give yourself just 2 breaths. Come back to your baseline. Bring your left knee over your left hip. 3 bends and straightens, nice and slow. Curiosity, how's this feel? Notice where you feel. This is how we learn to listen to your body, by really paying attention. Then the left leg goes up. Check in. Does it hurt in your hip? Hurt in your low back? Bend your knee if you need to, then externally rotate that left leg. Roll the knee and toes out and come back around. 2 more. Go a little bit faster, but try not to move your pelvis. Remember, your hip bones stay where they are. Externally rotate, bring your left leg onto your right thigh bone, touch and straighten 3 times. Keep breathing. Left foot comes onto your right thigh. Pause, assess, notice, shift, adjust as you need to. Maybe pick up your right leg. Find your figure 4 stretch. Now, when you find your figure 4 stretch, notice your spine. Notice your shoulders and your jaw. Can you soften through the eyes, the roof of the mouth? Now, a little more challenging, flex that left foot, heel, pick that shin and bring it a little closer to you and slide your right knee away a little bit. Oh my gosh, this is my really tight hip. Right? You might notice, right? If it's really tight, your breathing pattern might change. Without changing the shape of your spine, left leg goes up, right leg goes down to the floor, left leg up to the ceiling, come back around and slowly lower your left leg to the floor. Come back to your constructive rest pose. Come back to your experience. Give ourselves 3 breaths. And bring both knees back up over your hips. Hold on to the back of your legs, and you're going to try and roll all the way on up to stand. So push your legs away and roll up. If you need a little help, it's okay. Woohoo, and come on up. All right. Woohoo, all right. And then find a nice, easy standing shape. So legs come parallel. So here is your pelvic bowl. You might put your hands on it. So defining pelvic bowl again. You're going to tip from the pelvic bowl. Take those pelvic crests forward, tip, and come back up 3 times. Lead from the pelvis. Okay, so go at your own pace, but you want your hips, then your shoulder, then your head to go. Same thing coming up, pelvis, shoulder, head. There you go. Next time you tip over, pause. Hands could stay on your hips or maybe put them lightly on your thigh bones. You're going to take your sit bones down, bend your knees. Exhale, pull your sit bones up, straighten your legs a little bit, right? Keep your spine, yep, folded forward. You got it. 2 more. Next time your knees bend, pause, look down. Okay, you want your shins to be parallel over your middle toes. Careful that you're not valgusing or pulling your knees in, okay? Now put a little more weight into your heels. Put as much weight into your heels as you can. So much weight. There you go. Lift your chest a little bit. Find your corset cummerbund, pull your navel back, get nice and long through that low back, hang out, chest lifts up. Look up out in front of you, weight in your heels. Can you put a little more weight in your heels? Come all the way on up. 3 breaths, hang out, shake things out. Let's do it again now with your arms. So if you add your arms, you add a lever, okay? It's gonna add weight. So you're gonna exhale, sweep your arms up. Right, tip at your hip. Hip goes first. Find your standing like tabletop. Okay, bend your knees, drop your sit bones. Put the weight into your heels. Lots of weight. So when you look down, you can see all 10 toes. Knees going over your middle toes. Lift your chest, look up. Now tighten your corset cummerbund so that low back is supported from those lower transverse muscles. 2 breaths right here. And then exhale, pull your hip creases back, fold at your hips, take a forward fold, go slow enough. You can pay attention. Maybe you touch your toes, maybe you don't. You don't have to touch your toes to do a forward fold. 2 breaths. And come all the way on up, arms come overhead. Big high five mountain good morning stretch. And let your arms come down. Give yourself 3 breaths. Notice, feel your next exhale, and then step your feet wide. Again, define your pelvis. So hands are going to come on your pelvic bowl. Okay. Left leg is going to roll in. That is internal rotation. Right leg is going to roll out like a warrior 2 stance. Right leg's going to roll in. Left leg's going to roll out like warrior 2 going to the left. Side to side like that on your own. So feeling those leg bones like we did on the floor. Rotate in the sockets. 1 more to the right, 1 more to the left. Then we'll meet back with our toes facing forward. Then we're going to take your heels in, your toes out. I'm going to let your arms mirror what your legs do. So when you go down, your legs do external rotation. They roll kind of open and back, we could say. When you come up, they internally rotate. Your arms can roll in. Add resistance. Okay. Turn up the resistance here. If you had to push and pull weight, turn the resistance way up. Now, knees press out, which really means thigh bones push out, okay? Just trying to open your groin a little bit, open those adductors. We're going to do 2 more. Then the second time here, you're going to go down to your challenge and hang out. So shins, knees, hips, take your arms out to the side and just rotate your arms. Just roll your arms around in the sockets. Add some resistance. Arms and shoulders have lots of mobility. So we're going to add resistance. Next time your palms face up, pause. All right, push into the floor. Exhale, come up and step your feet together. Arms come down. Turn to face the front of your mat, or at least the long way of your mat, okay? So you're going to face right long, so you have lots of mat behind you. All right, tip at your hip. Lead with your pelvis, then your shoulders. You decide how far do you want to build this table. Find your tabletop. Little differently, bring awareness to your back shoulder blades. Put those shoulder blades nice and strong on your back. Turn on your corset cummerbund. We need to connect upper back to corset cummerbund. Now, drop the weight into your heels, bend your knees, drop your sit bones, find your chair. You decide, you don't have to take your arms up. Your arms, hands can hang out in your hips. Your arms, hands can come together at your chest. Or more challenging, most challenging, arms come up. You pick, you do you. You got 3 breaths here. Then we're going to exhale, keep your knees bent, fold at your pelvis, fingertips to the floor, step your feet back, build your downward facing dog. Bend your knees. See those shins? Bring your shins a little closer to the floor. Keep your heels up as high as your arches let you, and pull your hip creases, pull your butt cheeks back. See if you can just feel some length from the crown of your head through your tailbone. Nice and strong in your upper back. Got 3 quiet breaths. Now, when you feel your exhale, step your feet up 1 step. You decide how big that step is. Keep your knees bent. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Turn on your corset cummerbund and come all the way on up. Do a great big high five. Good morning. Woo, stretch. Bring your arms to your side. You get 3 breaths to come back. Notice how you're feeling. What do you need? How's it going? Next exhale, big wide stride. Left leg does that internal rotation, just a little bit, just enough. Right leg does that external rotation, heel to heel. Inhale, right knee bends. Pause. We're going to hold this shape for a moment. You're going to bring your hands to your hips and lift your hip bones up. So find those front hip bones and imagine you could pick them up and they would lift like it's a bowl and you're lifting it up out of the grounding of your legs. Like your forward fold, 3 hip tips. Tip at your right hip, hip, shoulder, ear, and come back up. Hip, shoulder, ear. Go from the pelvis. There we go. Next time you tip, hand or elbow to your thigh bone. A little more challenging. That right arm can straighten. You do you. Maybe your left hand stays on your chest. Maybe your left arm comes up to the ceiling. Got 2 breaths. Push into the floor. Come all the way on up. Straighten that right leg. Right leg, internal rotation, big movement here. Roll that right leg in. Left leg, external rotation, heel to heel. Pick up that pelvic bowl, trying to get those front hips to lift up out of the earth. Left knee bends. Keep that pelvis lifted up, 3 hip tips. Hips, shoulders, head. Come back up. Warm up, lubricate that left hip. Go just at your own pace, but you can pay attention. You can feel what's happening. Great, left elbow, either to the thigh. Maybe you're straightening your arm. Right hand on that hip or right arm up. 3 breaths. Keep your legs there, pull yourself back up. Now push and straighten that left leg. Both legs come back in. Step your feet together. Let your arms hang. Come back to yourself. So this practice is about trying to stay embodied in our bodies with our breath. So can you feel your body breathing? All right, then turn to face the front of your mat. You want that mat behind you. Hinge at your hip. Bend your knees. Turn on your upper back. Connect it with your corset cummerbund. Hands in your pelvis, maybe together at your chest or arms overhead. You got 3 chair pose breaths. Weight in your heels. Bring the weight back, 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 back. There you go, fold forward. You do you. You could stay here. You could come to standing meditation. You could step back and do a downward facing dog. Okay, we're not going to do a whole bunch of tables or planks today. So if you want a tabletop, you want a cat-cow, you want a straight arm plank, you go there. Okay, if your wrists are hurting, skip it. Your knees hurt, skip it. You got 2 breaths. Now, see if you can do this with the exhale. Wait for the exhale. And when you feel your exhale, step your feet in. Step, step. Next exhale, with the exhale, walk your hands back. Next exhale, push down, come all the way on up. You move with the exhale. Get up, inhale, you do a great big good morning high five stretch. Let your arms come down and give yourself a couple breaths. All right, so standing here in mountain, give ourselves a moment to just soften your shoulder, soften your chest. That awareness, like if you had a pat of butter in the roof of your mouth, it would melt, soften your face. Okay, so we're going to shift the weight equally into the balls of the feet and your heels. And you're going to pull your feet in. Like if you were out there on the lake on a sheet of ice, just your feet, pull your feet in. Try and grip like you could pull your mat together like that. That's how much grip. You're going to keep that grip with your feet. Bring your hands down on the top of your thigh bones and push the top of your thigh bones out. So feet grip in, thigh bones push out. And then maybe the hardest part is letting your chest, your face, your throat relax. 3 breaths. Great. Now fold forward, push your hip creases back. Can you keep your feet pulling in? Just your feet. Can you keep your thigh bones pushing out? What's this feel like? Pause when you need to. Fold all the way or don't. You do you. And come all the way on up. Keep your feet gripping that mat. Keep your thigh bones pushing out and then let it rest when you get up. Woo. Take your feet wide. Same idea. Feet go wide. Pull your feet together. Just your feet. Like you could pull your mat in. Thigh bones push out. Arms go out to your side and up to the ceiling. Lift the front of your hips up. Now push your hip creases back. Wide leg forward fold. Keep your feet pulling in. Thigh bones pushing out. You got this. Go all the way over. You don't have to touch the floor. If you do, just hot potato it. Touch the floor. Come right back up. Bring your arms down by your side. Let your legs rest for a moment. It's pretty intense. Remember internal resistance, that reminder. Your internal resistance can be at a 1, could be at a 5, it could be at a 10, anywhere in between, okay? Left leg rolls in, right leg rolls out. You pick the internal resistance, pull your feet together. Let your right thigh bone push out and come to warrior 2 legs. But keep your feet pulling together. Tip at your hip. Find your side angle. Elbow on your knee or maybe a straight arm. Left arm can come up. If you want, come back to your legs. Keep your feet pulling together. Soften your face. Soften your throat. That pat of butter needs to melt. You got 2 more breaths. Pull your feet together to come up. Pull your mat together, come on up. Woohoo! Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Everyone doing okay? Feel okay? No one's going crazy? Woohoo! However we define crazy. Feet pull together. I mean, like crazy, like a lot of people are like, what? That is crazy. You cannot do that with your legs. But you can, right? Can you feel how your feet can pull together and then your left thigh bone can push away? Find that warrior 2 legs situation. Tip at your hip. Keep your feet pulling together. Tip. This is like a big exercise in unification of opposites. You're pulling in and pushing out. 2 opposite energies. Got 3 more breaths. You got it. We're holding a little longer. Come on up. Step your feet together. Face the front so your mat's behind you. Feet pull together. Upper thigh bones push out. Hip creases go back, chair pose. Hands in your hips or together, or arms up overhead, 3 breaths. All right, come all the way on. Most challenging here, we don't want to splay the ribs. Okay, so find your lower rib cage and see if you can feel this rib, okay, in line, stacked over your hip bone. Right, so when you exhale, if you could knit this together, when you exhale, this rib bone is going to draw down and back. Okay, it comes in, right, in line with that hip bone. See if you can keep that. It's going to be challenging in your chair pose. We really like to push the chest forward like this. Okay, so feet come together isometrically, thigh bones push out. Corset cummerbund, that's another way of saying knit the ribs. Get that corset cummerbund on. Then go back in your heels. Take those hip creases back. Pay attention to corset cummerbund and then decide where you want your arms. If your arms are coming up and you're really tight in the shoulders, it's going to be really, really easy to push your ribs forward. I'm going to be really quiet for about 5 breaths. Don't move your legs, just hinge forward. Maybe you touch the floor, maybe your hands come to your shins. Step back or skip it, downward facing dog. When you build downward facing dog, bend your knees. Look at your shins. What would it feel like if you could isometrically pull your feet together and take your thigh bones out, just like we were in those standing forward folds, like we were in those warrior poses? When you feel your exhale, walk your feet up 1 step with your exhale. Next exhale, walk your hands back. Next exhale, come all the way on up and do a nice full big mountain high 5 stretch. Arms come down, 3 breath break. Okay. Unilateral leg body work. Anchor through that right leg. Left heel's gonna lift. Okay. You can lift your heel. You do you. What's comfortable? Maybe you're driving that left knee way up. Maybe your foot's down here. How do you know where to put the foot? Well, check in with the roof of the mouth and your jaw and your shoulders and your breath. We're going to take this leg like a fire hydrant. We're going to rotate it all the way around. You know, like when you're on your side and you do those fire hydrant drills and your left glute kind of burns. You're going to step it back now into a high lunge. All right. So it comes up and around, woohoo, and back. Lift your hips. Lift that pelvic bowl. Upper back corset come together. Sweep your arms forward to come up or keep your hands at your hips. 3 breaths. Bring your fingertips just gently together at your chest like you were holding a ball. Try not to move your pelvis and twist to the right. Take your rib cage, not so much your neck. So take your rib cage to the right. Take your gaze to the left. We'll be quiet. Breathe. Feel your exhale and then come back around to center. See if you can load your right leg, your right hip, and balance on the right leg. You can wobble. Hopefully you wobble. And then your left leg comes down. 5 breaths. Whew. Right heel lifts. Maybe pick it up. So as you pick your leg up, where do you feel really wobbly? You know, oftentimes it's the upper back part. Kind of forget, oh yeah, we have the upper back muscles. Want to connect mind, upper back corset. Can do a couple fire hydrant like hip movement exercises, leg movement, mobility drills. This is a really nice time to remind yourself of kindness, compassion. And that right leg, yep, steps back, high heel, okay? So when that right leg comes back, you want that back heel to be lifted. You want your pelvis to lift up. Check that you haven't pushed your ribs out to the lake or out in front of you. Hands can come up or be on your hips. Check in. Bring your fingertips to your chest like you're holding a really gentle ball. You're going to twist your rib cage, so feeling your ribs. So isolate the ribs, take them to the left, and slowly take your gaze to the right. We're going to be quiet. Let that pat of butter melt on the roof of your mouth. And if you're feeling wobbly, look at the earth. Let the earth help ground you. Wait for your exhale and then come back around. You got to load that left hip, balance on that left side. And then put that right foot down when you're ready. Arms come down. Feet come about as wide as your hips. Pull your legs back in. Squeeze your mat together. Push your upper thigh bones out. Fold forward. Find your folding table, pause. Going into chair, weight your heels. Maybe your arms come up, maybe they don't. Look up. Fold forward, downward facing dog. All right, in this downward facing dog, we're going to come all the way down onto your belly, okay? So you're going to come to tabletop if you want, or plank. And you're going to lower down to your knees. You're going to come all the way down. If you're at home and you're not comfortable being on the floor, you're going to have a wide leg seated shape and bring your elbows to your thigh bones. The rest of us are going to tuck our chins and just let your nose get as close to the floor as you can. And then let your chest release with your exhale closer, closer, closer to the floor. Imagine there is a magnet on the ceiling and it's pulling the back of your skull and your spine and your tailbone up. So let your spine come into your back body. 3 times, just roll your shoulder blades around in circles so you can feel, oh yeah, those are my shoulder blades. Then let your shoulder blades rest on your back. Come back down into your pelvis and push your pubic bone down into the floor. I'm not really sure how to do this one in a chair. Be creative, okay? You're going to lift your right leg. If you're on the floor, lift your right leg up. Lift your left leg, but don't lift your pubic bone. Don't lift your hip bones. Just lift your legs. Now, clap your heels. You're going to rotate and clap your heels together a whole bunch. Then you're going to rotate your feet back to the floor and clap your toes. Keep that low back in your awareness. One more time, clap your heels. Can you feel your thigh bones rotating in the sockets? Now rotate and clap your toes. You're only going in and out a couple inches. Now lower your feet and push the tops of your feet into the floor. Stretch out the front of your shins. All right, bring your hands down by your ribs if they're not already there. Baby cobra, inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lower down. One more time, lift your chest with your inhale. Hold. You don't have to lift up very high. I'm doing it with you, so if you're confused, look up. Don't move your pelvis, so define your pelvis, lift your legs. Let your hamstrings, the back of the legs, lift up as high as you can. Challenge yourself. Maybe lift your chest, check in with your low back, turn on that corset cummerbund. Lower down. Okay, fork in the road. You can lift your chest, you can lift your legs, you can split it up, or you can do them all together. We got 5 more. So you're going to inhale, chest, legs lift up. Exhale, lower down. Want more challenge? Lift your hands off the floor. Just an inch. Up and down. Super strong corset cummerbund. If it hurts your low back, pay attention to that. 2 more. Break it up if you need to, or do the whole movement together. Next time you pull yourself up, you're going to hold. You want something different, you're going to straighten your arms straight back, palms up. Pull your arms back, lift your legs. You got 3 breaths. And then you get to lower down and you just rest. And the rest feels really good, right? And you can put your hands underneath your forehead. You could look to the left or the right. And we get a 5 breath break. You might remind yourself that you have lungs in the back body, just like you do in the front. Fill up those back lungs. Give yourself another breath. And then we're going to come on up to sitting. So just find a nice, easy-ish. I know sitting on the floor isn't always easy. Crisscross applesauce. If it doesn't work for your legs, bring your legs out in front. All right, find your belly button. Find your 2 hip bones. Try not to move your belly button. Try not to move your hip bones. Find your ribs, okay? Left side ribs, go to the right. So take your left ribs around to the right. Take your right ear around to the left. 3 breaths. Come back to center. Right ribs around to the left. Left ear around to the right. Means you're looking over the right. 3 breaths. Back to center one more time. Left ribs over to the right. Right ear to the left. Melt that piece of butter. Melt that pat of butter on the roof of your mouth. Right, nice and wide through the roof of the mouth, soft palate, soft face, all the way around to the left, gaze to the right. And then back to center. All right, as we come towards the end, big fork in the road here, okay? You're gonna do some internal, external windshield wipers. You can do this sitting. Okay, this is going to put more weight in the hip. So you could do this one here. I call it the crustacean crawl because you're going to move. You could crustacean crawl when you get home across your house, right? Or you can do it lying on your back. All right, so your choice. We're just going to do it about 10 times side to side, right? Just let your knees drop to side. You might recognize internal, external rotation, leg moving in the hip. And then we're all going to slow it down. Come back to sitting or lying on your back, whatever works for you. You're going to come back to find a really safe posture place where you can relax. You can give yourself a full body stretch if you'd like. You're going to put a hand on your chest, sternum, heart, and a hand on your lower belly. Elbows can be nice and heavy on the floor. Same if you're sitting, sit bones root, hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Let go of control and allow your body to breathe for you. We always take the last minute or so for self-care. Gentle exhale breathing. Coming back to your experience, noticing what you notice. It's okay if you're feeling a little impatient, that's okay. If you're totally blissed out, that's okay. Just acknowledging how you're feeling and then blend your breath with your feeling. If you're on your back, you might take a full body stretch. You might draw your knees into your chest. You're going to roll over to the easiest side. And then we all come on up to sitting. Give everyone a high five for showing up, doing their thing. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you. Have a fabulous week. I'll see you on Friday.